I'd be happy to.
Mr. Forbes.
Gentlemen, sometime this business comes down to making tough choices. Thank you for helping us make those tough choices. Secretary Kerry, you assured us that we were not going to war, but I think most of us sitting on this committee realize that if tomorrow a foreign country launches a barrage of Tomahawk missiles into Washington, D.C., no matter what they call that, they have just gone to war with the United States of America, and I'm afraid that some individuals in Syria may have a hard time discerning whether those missiles launched to them might constitute war as well. But I do agree with you when you say we can't base our decisions solely on the budget. So I want to take sequestration off the table and not even deal with sequestration. Secretary Hagel, I want to ask you this. Which do you feel is more detrimental to the national defense of the United States of America? And I want to give you two choices. Choice one, failure to respond with an unbelievably small military response against Syria for using chemical weapons against its own people. Or choice number two, cutting $587 billion from our national defense, planning to cut 2 to 3 carrier strike groups, reducing our F-22 fleet to 187 fighters. Says we need 250, destroying 7 of our Navy cruisers, which have twice the firepower of the entire British Navy, creating a training crisis for our Air Force and a maintenance shortfall for our Navy ships, and doing away with the Joint Forces Command without any pre-decisional analysis. If you had to pick between those two as to which is more detrimental to national defense, would you pick choice number one or choice number two?
Well, Congressman, I hope those won't be the choices.
They were the choices because choice number two is what the administration did outside of sequestration. And so I just need you to give me a little perspective. If you had to pick one or the other, which would it be more detrimental to the national defense of the country?
Well, again, I'll answer your question, but let me just make one comment. I hope the Congress and the President will resolve the choice number two.
That is not relating to sequestration, Mr. Secretary.
Well,
they were cuts that were made before sequestration.
You're talking about the $487 billion.
$587 billion.
That wasn't just the President. That was the Congress as well.
But the President proposed it. He started with his efficiency. So if you would, I only got 5 minutes.
The Congress is a partner in that.
If I only have 5 minutes, just tell me which one is more detrimental.
Well, for the long-term interest of our country to completely decimate the internal dynamics of our military structure and capability is obviously the longer-term
so choice number two
problem. Yes, but that's not the issue at hand.
Well, it is the issue,
that's an interesting
and I'll come back
theoretical
to
debate.
Secretary Kerry, you talked about sending a greater message of national weakness. Which do you believe sends a greater message of national weakness? Failure to respond with an unbelievably small military response against Syria for using chemical weapons against its own people, or cutting $587 billion out of our national defense, planning to cut 2 to 3 carrier strike groups, reducing our F-22 fleet, and destroying 7 cruisers which have twice the firepower of the British Navy? Which one sends the stronger message of national weakness?
Well, those aren't the choices on the table as far as I'm concerned.
That's not my question. My
well,
question
that's relevant to what we're doing here, Congressman. We're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to proceed forward with the resolution authority.
Secretary,
your budget question, this is not a budget hearing.
Mr. Secretary, let me take that back then because you're not going to answer my question.
No,
Chairman Dempsey said this. I'll let you respond in writing. Secretary Dempsey said if we need the money, we'll find the money if it's of interest. And my point is, we have been waiting. Mr. Secretary, I've been waiting for you to come back and pound your fist on the table just as strong as you're talking about advocating this military strike to say, why haven't we put that $587 billion back, which didn't impact sequestration? Why are we even talking about cutting 2 to 3 carrier strike groups? Why have we reduced our F-22s down? And I haven't heard that same kind of passion. And, Mr. Secretary Kerry, the reason that's relevant is because I'm hearing from veterans groups, defense industry, ordinary citizens who do think that's a valid question for us to have been asking. And it comes down to this. This administration loves to use the military, want to use it in Syria, Libya, resource to Asia to balance that pivot, the Afghanistan surge. You just don't want to pay the price it takes to have a strong military. And my final question, Mr. Secretary, and you can answer after that, are you officially withdrawing your request for us to take action on a military response immediately, and do you want us to delay that response?
I'm not officially asking you to withdraw it, no, and I'm not asking delay, but I've been informed that the President of the United States, that while we've been sitting here, which I knew was going to take place this morning, has completed a conversation with President Hollande and with Prime Minister Cameron. I had an earlier conversation this morning with Foreign Minister Fabius, and we talked about where we are with respect to the Russian proposal, and they agreed to work closely together in consultation with Russia and China to explore the viability of the Russian proposal and to put all of the Syrian CW under the control of a verifiable destruction enforcement mechanism. And efforts are going to begin today to do that. Now, I don't know if that affects it, but I'm not here to ask you. No, I think we need to, as I said in my opening statement, as forcefully as I can. Exactly. What's brought us to this discussion at the UN now is the potential of this force, and we don't want to take it off the table. It would be dangerous to do that. It would be sucked into something that may not have any capacity to be able to be affected. And with respect to the budget, Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege here, please. We're all concerned. I'm concerned. I'm not in politics now. I'm out of politics. But I spent 28 years up here, and I know what's going on. We're all concerned about the readiness of our military, and I hear it in different places. But everybody knows that this nation is wealthy enough and has the capacity, if Congress will make its decision on the budget as a broad basis, to fund what we need to fund.
Mr. Secretary, you voted to cut that $587 billion. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
No, I voted to put in place a reasonable mechanism that would actually wind up with us solving our budget and deficit problems. And it was never put in place. That's what I voted for.
I'm going to